Hi there and welcome back to another edition of Derek's Driving School. Today I'm going to talk to you about nervous passengers and what it's like to be a nervous passenger and what tips and tricks you can use in order to overcome being a nervous passenger. Okay, so the first piece of advice I'd give you would be make sure that the driver of the car knows that you are a nervous passenger or that you're uncomfortable as a passenger. So what I generally tell people is before you get into the car, just make sure you say to the driver, hey listen, I'm a nervous passenger. I have issues sometimes with being a passenger in built up areas and things like that. So I think that the onus is then on the driver to, drive accordingly to make sure that you don't feel that nervous. I know sometimes I've been a driver when a passenger has said to me that they're feeling a bit nervous, and it's not to say that I won't always drive with caution, because I will, but it's just I might just apply that little bit extra caution whenever I have somebody who's very nervous in the passenger seat beside me, and might even explain why I'm doing what I'm doing so that I could say to them, listen, I'm just going to slow the car down, here's why. The second tip I give you is if you have been in the car with somebody at some stage who is a fast driver, an erratic driver, or just somebody that you're just not comfortable as a passenger while they're driving, well then the obvious thing to do in that situation is just don't go as a passenger with that person again. And if you did feel the need to say to them, look, I don't feel comfortable with your driving, I don't feel comfortable with the way you drive, so I'm not going to be a passenger in your car again. That's well within your right to decide to do that. The third tip I would suggest would be if you're a nervous passenger, you need to make sure that the driver is in control of the car at all times. So the best piece of advice I could give you would be allow the driver time to concentrate. And what I mean by that is don't be constantly talking to them or trying to take from their attention all the time. So that if you're sitting as a passenger and you're saying, oh look, there's a nice house over there. No, don't do that, because then you're distracting the driver, which is then going to take their focus off the road, and that could cause an accident as well. So the best thing to do if you're a nervous passenger is just simply sit there in silence and let the driver do their job. Drive the car. The human brain was only ever designed to function at a running speed. We were never designed to think at 60 mile an hour or 100 kilometers an hour, which is the speed limit on our national primary roads. There's an awful lot going on when a person is actually driving at 100 kilometers an hour. There's an awful lot of computation going on inside their head. It's enough to kind of concentrate on what's going on the road and the various other road users without having to listen to what you're saying, process that, maybe even visualize what you're trying to explain to them as well as deal with all the external influences that go into driving a car. So just bear that in mind as well when you do kind of feel tempted to talk to a driver when they're driving. Actually, as a driving instructor, ideally you shouldn't be a nervous passenger because you spend most of your time here in the passenger seat of the car. In my own situation, I probably am a nervous passenger, and it's probably as a result of being a driving instructor and maybe seeing all the potential hazards that crop up when you're out on the road. So some of the things that maybe I might pick up on, I'm hoping that the driver has picked up on them as well. I guess you could say it's an occupational hazard, but I'm always just aware, I'm always tuned in. I'm thinking to myself, okay, so there's a car up there, they're about to pull out. Has the driver seen that? Sometimes we can be just a little bit overcautious as well, so that we're kind of driving on behalf of the driver. The most important thing here is that you're sitting in the passenger seat with somebody who you feel is in control of the car, is a safe and confident driver. Okay, so I hope you like some of those useful tips and tricks. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing weekly videos here. It's probably going to be away from the normal kind of stuff like the bread and butter of the driving, because after all, you're going to be doing a lot of that with your driving instructor anyway, so you don't need me to tell you exactly how to drive the car. And plus the fact, without you sitting in a car beside me, it's very difficult to go through all the various different bits and pieces that we need to go through. So I'm going to leave that to the driving instructor you're with. As part of my video, I'm actually going to explore more about the psychology behind driving and what it takes in order to be a good driver, and psychologically what's involved in actually showing up to a driving lesson, preparing yourself to a driving lesson, doing a driving lesson, and then long term then actually driving the car then into the future as well. So if that's kind of stuff that interests you, make sure to subscribe to my channel. If there's anything that you think that you might like me to cover as part of my videos, put a comment in the comment section below. Thanks very much, stay tuned, and I'll see you next week.